In the process of expansion, clashes occur between the boundary of one object and that of another object. In the case of mundane objects, it is impossible to expand without encroaching upon the boundaries of another object. This clash over boundaries brings out the worst in human beings. Narrow-mindedness, greed, casteism, provincialism, nationalism, etc., as they strive to establish themselves in the empire of the universe. Those who are bound by those sentiments deny the existence of the absolute entity. Even if they set out with a goal before them, their love for crude desires grows so intense that their goal becomes totally obscured. Being preoccupied with their own self-interest, they lose their capacity to look towards their goal. Such people are called mohanda, or blindly infatuated. Those who are moving will have to think constantly of their goal, not of their movement, and certainly not about the probable obstacles they may encounter along the way. If one thinks of obstacles, the obstacles themselves becomes one's goal, and the actual goal is relegated to the background. Hence, in the sphere of Brahma sadhana, only Brahma is the goal, only Brahma is to be meditated upon. Spiritual aspirants must not entertain any thought about the impediments which may arise at the time of meditation, but focus their minds upon the supreme culminating point. To establish a heavenly kingdom in this mundane world, human beings will have to fight tirelessly against the internal and external demons. But this does not mean that the demons should become the object of ideation. Brahma sadhana is entirely different from Yada sadhana, the pursuit of matter, because it focuses on the goal, not the clash. Spiritual aspirants who struggle to expand the self should never compromise themselves with those forces which try to thwart the process of supreme expansion. The path of self-expression, Dharma sadhana, is the path of valor. There is no place for inertness or cowardice on such a path. In the social sphere, the perennial struggle of human beings should not be undertaken individually, but collectively. Those who provide leadership in the social struggle must be established in Yama and Niyama, code of yogic morality. Such people are called Sadvipras. How will Sadvipras be created? They will be created in the continued endeavor to expand the self, by reciting holy scriptures or by acquiring a few Sanskrit titles. One cannot succeed in spiritual pursuit. Brahma does not care who is of noble descent or high caste. The important thing is to continue sadhana. One's life can only be properly evaluated in the light of that struggle. Nasti teshu yati vidya rupa kula kriya dibida. The struggle in collective life, with the Sadvipras in the position of leadership, will continue endlessly. Sadvipra after Sadvipra will come. The torch carried by one will be handed over to the next. But the sadhana of individual life is not endless. It culminates in the attainment of Brahma. Those who believe that they must first attain success in individual life before participating in the collective struggle will not succeed. They will never bring expansion in their individual lives if they ignore collective welfare. To be worthy of being Sadvipras, individuals will have to concentrate on both intellectual and social development. Otherwise, no matter how lofty the word Dharma might sound in theory, it will remain as a big hoax in the practical field. All spiritual aspirants must strive to become Sadvipras, and that too from this very moment. If a person who takes bribes starts an anti-bribe campaign, he will become an object of ridicule. One will have to make an earnest endeavor to develop oneself thoroughly. Mere rhetoric will not do. Only those endowed with sincerity and devotion can be called righteous, and can successfully propagate Dharma. For the propagation of Dharma, government help is not required. Those who want to thwart the introversial phase of the cosmic cycle in individual and collective life are dominated by avidya maya. In the struggle against avidya, if the thought of purusha, cognitive faculty, is kept awake in one's mind, avidya's influence will start to wane. In individual life, the six enemies, ripus, and eight fetters, pashas, are collectively known as the force of avidya, for the preservation of the physical body, and to keep social tyrants under control. These pashas and ripus need to be maintained, but the mind must not be allowed to become their slave. Those who want to destroy them would be better off committing suicide. Sincere spiritual aspirants must keep their pashas and ripus firmly under control, making them subservient to their disciplined mind. Though the avidya force is expressed in various ways, its expression in the human mind can be divided into five categories: avidya, asmita, raga, devesha, abhinivesha. Anitya shushidu kanata mashu nitya shushishu sukatma kyatira vidya. When human beings become blindly infatuated with objects of enjoyment and lose all common sense, when they become totally absorbed in the pursuit of finite objects, forgetting the infinite, they make the error of believing that the impermanent is permanent. This useless pursuit exhausts all their vital energy. They forget that no single object of the world enjoys permanence. Some educated people say, well, I may not live long enough to enjoy all the pleasures of life, but my grandchildren will. This yearning for the finite is caused by avidya. Under the influence of avidya, people become so infatuated that they forget the difference between pure and impure, and so greedy that they eat rotten meat, choose to forget that alcohol is bad for health, and even try to prove the unholy as being holy by force of logic. Some people claim that eating meat and drinking alcohol are a part of Dharma sadhana, and some state they eat meat to maintain their health and strength. Lost in blind pursuit for finite objects, people fail to realize that the pleasure they derive will actually bring more sorrow in the future. An alcoholic does not understand that heavy drinking severely damages the liver. An opium addict does not understand that the temporary pleasure derived from the drug gradually benumbs the nervous system. This mistaking pain to be pleasure is caused by the influence of avidya. Those who succumb to this influence can be likened to a dog chewing on a bone in a burial ground. The dog thinks that the blood oozing out of its jaw comes from the dry bones and greedily bites even harder, further damaging its jaws. The poor animal wrongly thinks sorrow is happiness. Under the influence of avidya, people believe that the finite objects created by static prakriti are their own. They think, my horse, my son, my daughter, my wealth, and believe that with these objects they will live eternally. But the fact that is, all these limited objects will desert them after some time. Nothing that can be called one's own will remain. To understand avidya properly, one must pursue the path of spiritual practice. Without sadhana, one cannot escape the devouring jaws of avidya. Asmita Trigdarshana Shaktyorikatma Teva Shmita. Asmita literally means to arrogate the full authorship of an action. The actual authorship of action, no matter what that action may be, does not belong to the sensory and motor organs. In the absence of Atman, the knowing entity, the organs become totally ineffective. If the image of an elephant is reflected on the eyes of a corpse, it will not be able to see it. A corpse has no Atman, no witnessing entity, and thus no capacity to see. People often believe that mind is everything, thus commit the error of taking the mind to be the author of actions. This error is called asmita. Asmita causes human beings to confuse Drik Shakti, witnessing entity, with Darshan Shakti, faculty of sight. Sadhakas must remember that the mind and the indriyas can only perform their allotted duties. when consciousness is reflected on the unit mental plate. By forgetting that the cognitive faculty is the witnessing force behind the faculty of seeing. Behind the existential I feeling, people become worse than animals.